And welcome to the Pikeville City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley-Dotson, a time when we sit down with Pikeville City Manager to talk about all of the great things going on in and around our area. Normally, City Manager Donovan Blackburn is with us, but today a special guest will join us to talk about all the great things going on. Sean Cochran is the Director of Operations for the City of Pikeville. Wears a lot of different hats. Sean, good day to you.
Good day, Jill. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for filling in for Donovan. I know he is taking care of some very important business today, but he has left us in very good hands.
He has, and I like what you said, special guest. I like that.
Special
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Showing a little respect.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know how we do the City Manager's Report. You've been with us before talking about a lot of different tourism opportunities and different things going on in our area. Today is not going to be any different. We have a lot of things going on in our city.
We absolutely do, Jill. It's, you know, there are sometimes it's hard to, when someone asks me, you know, what's going on in town, it's hard to fit it all in. You know, you talk about sometimes giving that elevator talk. You know, when someone asks you what's going on, what's happening, you've only got a couple of minutes. You know, and we've just got so much that it's hard to fit it in a couple of minutes. You know,
it seems as though last year when we sat down at the beginning of summer, late spring, early summer, and talked about a lot of the opportunities that were going on, we had just been named a Kentucky Blue Water Trail with our rivers and our streams, and that was one of the greatest things that was going on a year ago.
Sure.
But now we look at the list of accomplishments for 2014. And it's growing and growing and growing.
You know, it keeps growing, and you know that's something you and I talk about all the time. Is that not only does it keep growing, and so we're getting more and more and larger, but the rate of the growth is growing too.
Yeah.
So the growth is getting faster. You know, and like you said, Jill, it's last year it was very exciting to sit down and talk about the Blue Water Trail, but so much more, even just with the River Trail alone, so much more has happened between then and now. You know,
and that's on our list to talk about today. Something that, you know, I know you and I share a complete love of the waterway that we have here. So we're going to talk a lot about that coming up. Let's talk about tourism right now and the increasing opportunities for tourism. Last year, you know, our Hatfield-McCoy Trail, the different places that you could visit, that was a big part of our last year's tourism time. But this year we have new hotels downtown, we have new attractions. Let's talk about just the downtown area to start.
Well, Jill, and that's, you know, there's a national trend going on, and you know, anyone that's traveled a little bit, I'll just relate a personal experience. We've been going to the Wilmington, North Carolina area for vacation for the last 12 or 13 years. And I know you and I talked about this the other day, but you know, what I've seen over the last 12 years just in the Wilmington area, and it's going on nationally too, is, you know, 20 years ago, a lot of the development moved away from downtown to bypasses and things like that, shopping malls and stuff. And what you see now is you see a lot of development moving back into downtown. And what's happening in Wilmington is it's all moved back into downtown with historical areas and down on the river and things like that. And you see a lot of retail shops going up and stuff. And that's exactly what we've got going on here too. You know, a lot of things are happening, you know, and it's by no accident. You know, the commission's put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of work into planning, getting things in place so these things can start happening. And it's been years of hard work, years of planning, years of dedication by the commission to get us to the point now to where we see the fruits of that labor really starting to take shape. And with all the new things going on downtown, you know, and the one comment that I hear almost daily from someone that's not from the area is how beautiful the downtown area is.
And like you said, it's by no mistake.
It's not.
This has been a vision and such a thought process that has taken a lot of years to complete. And you're starting to see, like you said, the fruits of the labors. When I was downtown just yesterday, driving down Main Street, and I looked up, and you know, we see it every day. So I think sometimes we become a little bit numb to it because we do see it every day, and we tend to forget that, you know, a few years ago, our downtown area did not look the same. But so many people now are coming in to take pictures just of the hanging baskets and our beautiful buildings downtown. Revitalization, like you mentioned, in different parts of the country, it is a trend, and it's no different here. When we go down, say, Division Street now, where we have the new courthouse, and then Division Street now opened up to two-way traffic. There's areas there where you can sit and enjoy the day, and then you have all of the different storefronts that are changing because of Mint and the Main Street program.
Absolutely. Mint has done a wonderful job. The Main Street board, that board is very, very active, very involved, and they've done a wonderful job with that Division Street facade. Down through there, as you see now, the buildings are being painted, new awnings going up, and like I said, Jill, you know, that area is such a wonderful area. It's opened up now, you know, and it The new courthouse, of course, is a beautiful building. Designed to fit in with all the historic buildings downtown. But again, looking down Main Street early this week, I was meeting with some people from out of town who were they were looking at placing their business here in Pikeville. And you know what it was a young lady, and she's just out of college, and you know, she said this is so cool. She'd been over to the new coffee shop and got a nice coffee, and she said, you know, where should I go? Where should I go to get that great picture? And I said, well, you need to follow me. And we walked down the street, and we got to the head of Main Street, and she was just amazed. You know, and again, Jill, that's a lot of hard work to get there. You know, from the underground utility projects, getting utilities underground, like you mentioned, the flowers. You know, there's a lot of many years of hard work that the commission's put into getting it that way, and now starting to pay off.
It is starting to pay off. One of the newest places that we have downtown is the new Jenny Wiley Theater that recently has opened up. Wonderful productions going on there, and really lends itself to what the commission and people involved are trying to do with the downtown area, to make it a place where you can park your car on one end of the street and walk down and have dinner, lunch, get your coffee at the new Roasted Coffee House that opened up this week, but also take in a great theater experience.
Yep. And you know, Jill, that's one of the, in any revitalization, anywhere you go, you'll see that the arts play a major role in it. And the Jenny Wiley Theater certainly is a great example of that. You know, that's a great keystone to build on in the downtown, and like you say, to create that arts or cultural district where it's walkable. People can walk through. They can see a show, they can grab a bite to eat, they can grab a cup of coffee, and what that's going to bring is that's going to bring business. That's going to bring, because you bring the people in, the businesses will follow, and so that'll bring businesses in, which creates jobs, grows the economy, and just you know, has an overall positive effect. So it's exciting right now. It really
is exciting, and that's exactly what's happening. Roasted, the new coffee house downtown, bottom of the 99 steps. You can't miss it. If you've not been in there, you need to stop and see it. Michelle Sword doing a fantastic job. They serve breakfast and lunch. I think they're open till 7, from 7 to 7 right now, serving great coffees. And it's not your chain store. It's a locally owned and operated business. People putting back into the community. They've owned businesses here before, but doing a great job. And that's one of the new places, that, especially if you work at the college. And I anticipate when the college comes back into fall semester that place is going to be ran over with people. Oh, no question whatsoever. You know, and that was again, that was the commission a couple of years ago during our new comprehensive plan update. The commission actually invited students to come in from Pikeville High School and some from the university, and to engage them in what it is that they would like to see. And a coffee shop was one of the ideas, and there were several great ideas that came out of that. You know, and the commission really likes to hear from people about those things, and so what they were able to do is to take a building that was otherwise being unused and turn that into a place where a new business could start up. You know, and like you say, it's a great local business. You know, you've got Jamie and Michelle Sword have been here all their lives. You know, they're already business owners in the area, but you know, they're able to come in. They're able to keep that money here, keep it local. They're able to hire local people to work and provide a service that you know, was definitely needed. Like you say, just go in over there. If you want to see, you know, how crowded it is and how much that was needed. And I agree with you, John. I think when the university starts back this fall, they will absolutely be covered up. So I know, you know, I enjoy a good cup of coffee, and definitely, you know, their sandwiches and danishes and stuff. You know, it's absolutely top notch. It's just a great atmosphere.
It is. It's a cool little, you know, it's just
really
like the girl told me.
building.
Yeah, she said, you know, this is so cool.
Yeah,
that was her word, and I agree with her. It is. You know, it's really neat.
Certainly is. Something else that's really cool and neat that is in the process of being constructed. And every time I go past the Riverfield, I look over to see how close we are to getting our outdoor terrace seating project completed. I spoke to Larry McGoy this morning, talking about Muscle on Main that's coming up this weekend. And I asked if that was going to be, if it's nearing completion. He said maybe not this weekend, but we're getting very close. Update us a little bit on that project.
Well, it's actually coming along quite well, and you know, I'm always it's once people get over there, they're going to see it's completely different when you're on site than what it looks like in the Riverfield. Because from the Riverfield, all of those seats look like they're in straight lines, and they're not. They actually follow the contours of the old riverbank, and so it lends a lot of character. It's just really, really neat when you get over there on it. But yeah, it's coming along really, really well. We had a couple of delays with weather back in the early spring when they first got started on it. Of course, they're working on a hillside, and when they get a big rainstorm, there's not a whole lot they can do.
Kind of puts a damper on things.
Kind of puts a damper on things. So all of the stonework now is finished, and so what they're finishing up on is the site work, the grading. They're actually today, I was just over there this morning, they're pouring the concrete at the top. That will be the ADA accessible seating. So at the top, you'll have plenty of room. I think there's about 180 feet that we'll have that'll be wheelchair accessible. So all on the top. But when that's finished, that's going to seat about 2,500 people. And it's just such a great venue.
Yeah, and a lot of people are just have big ideas for the different things that we can do there. Obviously, it's going to be an intricate part of our drag racing that we have with Muscle on Main coming up during the weekend, second weekend of every month that's held. But also go-kart races, concerts. I mean, I was telling Donovan a couple shows ago that we talked how wonderful it would be to have those outdoor concert series, kind of like
absolutely.
they do CMA Fest in Nashville, bringing that type of event here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason we can't have those. If someone else can have them, we can have them. And there's just there's so many wonderful things that we could do over there. And if you think about it, that parking lot's a pretty big stage.
It is. So it's a big space.
Yeah. So there's plenty of room for all kinds of great events. Whether it's
Well, I think when you see, like when you're on site, like you said, and you look back out, you realize just how enormous that parking lot is and what kind of venue it can hold. It looks a little different when you're looking from Main Street across, but when you actually are down there on site, you see the seating, you see how the contour, like you said, goes along the riverbank, but then you see the massive amount of real estate there that we're going to be able to bring a lot of things in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big concerts.
The outdoor concert series to me is very exciting. Not only that, too, we could have plays down there. And we've actually talked with Arts Collaborative Theater and Zipline Theater about doing plays, maybe summer stock plays or things like that. Or, who knows?
The sky's the limit,
The sky is the limit over there. It's a really, really neat project. And that's something, that, again, that's another attraction that we're going to be able to add that brings people into Pikeville. Along with all these other great events and attractions and things that we have going on. And, that's what tourism is all about. It's about getting those people from outside of Pikeville and even outside of the region. So those people from Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, Kingsport, Bristol, Huntington, to have them come into Pikeville. And when they come in, they're going to stay in our hotels, they're going to eat in our restaurants, they're going to buy gas, they're going to shop, they're going to buy show tickets, and that grows the economy.
Absolutely. Lots of fun. Something I mentioned, Muscle on Main, going to be this coming weekend. Larry McGoy was telling me this morning that it's growing and growing. Of course, the block party is Friday night and the cruise in. Block party this week going to be at Applebee's. Talk a little bit about the block party and then we'll get to Saturday's
the block party is a lot of fun. That's and the block party rotates to different restaurants each week. Like you said, this week is at Applebee's, and that's always a great one because you got a big area down there. You're right on the river. The weather's going to be great, but there's live music. All the old cars are in. There's always somebody that's dancing. Kids are playing. So the block party it's a blast. It really is.
It is a lot of fun. Oh, and we say Applebee's, it's the lower parking lot.
It's the lower parking lot behind Applebee's.
So you look out over the river, which is cool too.
It's pretty cool.
It is nice. And it's certainly a family-oriented event.
Oh, absolutely.
Friday night, lots of fun. You don't have to worry about taking your kids there. And that's the great thing I think that the city of Pikeville offers when we do events like this. Everything that we do is kid-friendly.
Sure.
And family-oriented. So you never have to worry about anything like that. Now on Saturday, Muscle on Main actually takes place. The cars line up, they shut the street down, line up there, and then later on the evening, I think, what do you tell me, about 6 o'clock is when they start the drag races.
The drag races start at 7, but last, going back to the cruise-in, Jill, last month the cruise-in, Main Street was packed. It was just absolutely packed. And what Larry McGoy, who's our new executive tourism director, I don't know if he's been able to be on with you yet or not.
He has not yet, but I'm pushing him to come on.
He needs to. Larry's a great guy. We hired him back in the winter. He's served his country for about 25 years. Just a fantastic guy, very hard worker. But I challenged him early on to get more involvement for families in the block party and the cruise in a drag race and everything. And he stepped up to that very, very well. You know, with the cruising now, he's created a kids pit area, which is really neat. You know, he's got RC cars that the kids can race. They got Hot Wheels cars that they can drag race. He's got coloring books with school desks where they can sit and color, and it's great for parents too, because they can now come and walk through and see all the cars, then come and sit on the plaza. Their kids got somewhere to go and play and be occupied. And of course, Expo will be set up selling hot dogs and hamburgers and popcorn, and so great family event. And then at 7 o'clock, that's when the drag racing kicks off.
All moves down to the river field.
All moves down to the river field. And I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. We are going to try to open part of the seating this weekend for.
I heard that. I wasn't going to mention it, but I was told this morning that could be a possibility.
Yeah, we're working on it now. As a matter of fact, that's what I was doing all morning this morning, and so we'd like to try to get part of that opened up for this weekend.
Yeah, it's just a really, really neat thing. Yeah. One of the things that Larry and I were talking about, you mentioned the kids pit. There have been big wheel races. And he says that we're working on doing some of the motorized things later on to see if the kids can get involved with the racing there. But one of the things I think that has been added that I'm really excited about is the lawnmower drag racing.
Lawnmower drag racing.
You see this. I mean, I've seen these competitions before, but this is a big deal.
It's a big deal. You see them, you know, they've really caught on long over the, you know, across the country, and you know, it's another thing. It just provides another layer of fun, another layer of entertainment, another outlet for people to have. And Larry has actually, in his spare time at home, built his own lawnmower. Of course, he's not going to race it, but he's a car guy.
He is a car guy,
and he wanted to build. So he built a lawnmower to look like an old T-bucket dragster.
I saw a picture of it today. It is neat, but I think just one more thing that adds to the fun of that event is, you know, bring your John Deere out or bring your souped up lawnmower. I mean, people take a lot of pride in their mowers just like they do their cars, so I think that's just one added plus. It
is, and it's a great way for some, you know, maybe if a guy can't afford, you know, a dragster, then he can build a lawnmower.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know, it kills two birds with one stone. You know, helps you out there. Main Street Live, first and third Friday night every single month, goes through, is it the end of September?
Goes through the end of September, and I think this year there's the first one in October too.
So we are going to have one in October this year. So, this is something that is one of my favorite events. We try to go almost every Friday night. Last week it was in conjunction with the 4th of July, so that was a big time. It was Bluegrass Night, I believe. And again, the Main Street program, again, coming up with other innovative ways to bring people out to the plaza. It's on the Billy Johnson stage of the Expo Center and showcases a lot of local talent from our area.
Absolutely, doesn't it? You know, it's another, I'm like you, Joe, it's one of my favorite events. You know, I don't miss one unless I'm out of town or something, but, and it is just grown and grown and grown and grown. And just to compare it a little bit, I was talking with a friend of mine from Lexington. He was talking about what they do on Thursday nights in Lexington. It was very similar. Lexington Live, or I think is what it's called. But he was telling me, he said, you know, we only had almost 1,000 people out for that, and I'm thinking, well, we have 300 or 400. You know, sometimes maybe pushing more than that out for Main Street Live, and of course with a lot less population than what Lexington is. So, yeah, people absolutely enjoy it. You know, it's great fun. It's another thing. It's great family entertainment. You know, like you mentioned, a lot of local talent. You know, they have an opportunity to come out and show off how good they are. And we've got a lot of great talent musically
really
in this
something.
area. I mean, it surprised me, you know, how much there is.
Yeah, we find out a lot through the radio show that I do in the morning. We have a lot of local talent come in, singers and artists, and people like Josh Osborne from Shelby Valley, who has written, you know, numerous #1 hits. And you think about not only the musicians and the singers that we have, but also the writers who have really made a name for themselves. You know, we have Cindy Best, partly from Prestonsburg, partly from Pike County, Chris Stapleton from Johnson County. The list goes on and on and on. Of course, you have, you know, Dwight Yoakam, Patty Loveless. Those names have been synonymous with country music for years, but we do have a lot of local talent, and you never know when a person that you see on our stage is going to be one of those names in 5 or 10 years that's going to be doing the country hits.
That's exactly right. You know, I think you brought up Josh, obviously, as a prime example. I think, doesn't he he's got 2 top 10 right now, 2 in the top 10?
Blake Shelton's #1 hit right now, he co-wrote.
Yeah, so
I think it's My Eyes, I think is what it's called.
yeah, so it's just amazing, and the amount of talent that we have in this region.
Yeah, lots to be proud of. I know one of the things that you're most proud of, because before you got into, I'll say, city government work, you were in the river trail business, and it all kind of bloomed from there, really, what you're doing now. But our river trail system, and I say this all the time, and obviously, Delvin and I talk about it, you and I talk about it, when we're not doing this sort of thing, but it is absolutely beautiful. And the way that it's grown with the rafts and the kayaks and the canoes and the renewed interest that people have in our river trail system is really remarkable.
It is, Jill. And what's, like you said, my history with it is obviously I operated Cut Through Adventures, and then from that point, the city hired me to come on and do it in-house, and then I've moved from that. But the work, number one, I think, what I recognized even before I started with the city is that the work that the commission has put into developing that river trail, a lot of investments have been made with as far as being able to get to the river. With the ramps, we have 4 ramps over an 8-mile section.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. You just don't have that. As a matter of fact, during our Blue Water Trail survey with Kentucky Fish and Wildlife was here, that was one of the things they commented on is wow, your access is the best in the state. And that's the problem with rivers in most areas, you just don't have access. So, the commission's done a wonderful job in creating the availability. And then what that has done is once we started running the canoe and the kayak business, you began to see people go, it's like a light bulb went off, and they go, so it is a recreational river, I get it. And, the great thing now, and we're talking about a short span, over the last 4 or 5 years, is, you see Walmart selling kayaks now. You see retailers selling kayaks, but even more than that, I see kayaks on top of cars. I see canoes on cars. Yesterday, when I was coming past Walmart, I saw 4 or 5 people that were on the river in their own boats, and so that's really, really neat. That's the best thing about it is what that investment has created is it's created another recreational opportunity.
Yeah. Not
only for the people that live here, but again, it's starting to be recognized now outside of the region as a tourist opportunity.
What I've noticed is last weekend, starting on, it was 4th of July, Derek and I started that morning in the river, and we started at Jubilee Church there and put in there. And then we floated all the way to the Holiday Inn Express and got out that rope. And then he went back the next day and did the rest of it from there to Walmart. It's so different. Every part you see is so different. But the great thing about it is that anybody can get on there and do that.
That's it. We've got, I call it friendly water. It's all class 1 water. It's all family friendly water. And listen, until you've seen that cut through from the river,
you've never lived.
You haven't seen the cut through. You haven't lived, because it's just amazing. So I would invite anyone to come out and try it. Yeah. Even if you think that you can't do it, come out and give it a try, because 80% of the people that we put on the water have never been on the water.
Yeah.
Now this year that's changing, because we're seeing a lot of repeat customers come back now.
Ran into somebody when I got out of the river there at the Holiday Inn Express ramp, and came up the hill, and this guy kind of looked at us and he said, "What are y'all doing?" And we said, "Well, we've been on the river, floating, fishing a little bit. We had the John boat that day." And they were from around, I want to say, the Asheville area, and they had heard about our Hatfield-McCoy trails, where you can go and ride the bus and stop at all the different places, and they had never really, they'd heard about the river, but they didn't know they were that close to it. So then they, that evening, were going to give a call and to see if they could get on the river that night. But I thought, how cool is that you use other areas, and you think about people from that area not coming here to use our systems, but they in fact were, and I thought that was kind of neat. One other thing that I do want to mention today, the tours are selling out through the weekend. A lot of people finding interest. So if somebody wanted to book a trip, how would they do that?
Well, they can, they call Ronnie Hilton, who we've hired now to run the river, and
he's doing a great job.
He's doing a fantastic job. I mean,
could not have been a more perfect person.
No, there could not. No one in this area that I've ever met knows that river better than Ronnie. And loves it as much as he does. But you can call Ronnie at 616-2555. It's 606-616-2555. Or now you can actually log on to visitpikeville.com/tickets.
And find them that way.
And you can find them that way. So, yeah.
Yeah. He's also wanting to do at Yak Masters fishing tournament in October.
Of course, Jill, that hits close to both you and I.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got the fishing tournament scheduled, and it's got a lot. It's already gotten, and we just announced it. It's already gotten a lot of interest and a lot of attention. And I apologize, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the fellow who is leading, there's actually a tour, just like the FLW tour of kayak fishermen. And the fellow who's leading that series now is going to come in and fish this tournament. And Ronnie's been working with some clubs in Central Kentucky and even reaching out nationwide to a lot of these kayak fishing tournaments. And there's a possibility that next year we could be placed on the series. So they would all come through and fish here, you know.
Again, great things happening very fast.
Really quick.
Very
really
fast.
Quick.
We're almost about out of time today, but I do want to mention, don't forget to stop up at Miss Betty's Dream Stables, top of Bob Amos, for their horse trail. That's staying very, very busy. You can call there or stop by and book your trail ride. Update us quickly on the Zipline that's coming.
Zipline will be starting construction very soon. As a matter of fact, I just talked with Robert Nickel, who's the owner, is going to be building it. And you know, the great thing about Robert is when he came in and looked at the area, we were talking to him about what are the options, what are the possibilities, and he had been here a couple of hours, had been on the site, and he knew the area, and he said, you know, look, I want to come in and build this thing and operate it. So he's in China. I just talked to him the day before yesterday. So he's working on what will be the world's longest, tallest zip line in China, and as soon as he comes back, he's putting his plan together and coming here. So the zip line will be open for the fall season.
Will be open for the fall season. One of the most beautiful times of year that we had, so it could not be a more perfect time to open. Last thing I do want to mention quickly, walking trails, hiking trails, and a master bicycle plan for the city to promote cycling.
Yeah, we are working on working with Summit Engineering on that, on developing a master bicycle plan. And what we're doing is trying to identify trails and areas that are suitable for bicycling and see what we need to do, you know, to promote more cycling. You see a lot of it going on. And the great thing about Pikeville right now that you see is you see a lot of people running, a lot of people walking, a lot of people bicycling and using the trail system. Of course, we're working on the Trail Town designation through the state. It's a long process. There are a lot of things that have to be in place. The good news is, you know, the commission's already gotten a lot of those things in place. Signage and trails and you know, at Bob Amos, I added it up, and we've got, just in that park, when you add up all the trail systems, we've got close to 30 miles of trails. You know, and you don't think about it that way.
Well, it's so pretty too when you get on those trails and you find another path here and another path here. It kind of all like leads you back in, brings you back to the central location, but you can walk or run, whatever you want to, for hours and see something new every single moment, which is just one of the great things that we offer, not just for the residents of Pikeville, but for all of Pike County. And as we reach out into other parts of our region, Floyd, Johnson, Martin, into Wise, Virginia, to Mingo County, it's all about a regional push to make our area a destination, just like other areas have.
Absolutely. Yep.
And Sean, I want to thank you for all that you do. I know that you stay busy. I want to thank you for filling in for Donovan today. He will be back in a couple of weeks and we'll hear from him, but you've done a great job as our special guest today.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jim.
All right, Sean Cochran, thank you so much. This has been the Pikeville City Managers Report. Until next time, good day.